Hey there, Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. In today's video, I want to kind of clarify the difference between the pentatonic and the blues scale. This is something that's kind of come up a bit recently, and we use these terms really interchangeably. And they are, I often say these are functionally equivalent. That's a really fancy word that says they get used the same way, but technically speaking, they are not exactly the same. So let's take the A, right? We always use the A minor pentatonic scale, and it's a very good one because it has no sharps and flats in it. So I have A, and I have C, and I have D, and I have E, and I have G, and then I have A again. And that's my A minor pentatonic scale. It's a root, a flatted third, a fourth, okay, and what that means is that if I play the A major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, I get a D. And if I play in the A minor pentatonic scale, I also have a D. So the C is what we call a flatted third, because in an A major scale, it would be a C sharp. So it's a flatted third. So we have a root, a flatted third, a fourth, a fifth. The E is also found in the A major scale. The G is a flatted seventh. In an A major scale, it would be a G sharp. So this is flatted, it's a half step lower. That's where all those numbers come from. So root, flat third, fourth, fifth, flatted seventh, and I start over again with the root. Okay, so what is it that makes it a blues scale? Well, a blues scale is basically a passing tone between the fourth and the fifth. So we have our root, our flat third, our fourth, what is commonly called a flatted fifth, although technically speaking, you could also call it a raised fourth or a sharped fourth. It's the same thing. And then we get the fifth, and then we get the seventh. Okay, so if I play that all in one position, there's the pentatonic, there's the blues. There's the pentatonic, there's the blues. Okay, so now you kind of understand what the difference is. So what are, in usage, how are they different? Well, the reality is they're not. They're really not all that different at all. Okay, if I were to just play into my looper a little blues in A, okay, and I played the A minor pentatonic, sounds fine, sounds great. What if I add the blue note? Sounds great, right? So that's what I mean by when I say they are functionally equivalent. Any place you could use the minor pentatonic scale, you can use the minor blues scale. It's going to sound a little bit different. It's obviously going to have a little bit of that bluesy quality to it, okay? But most of the time we're using these in a blues context anyway. So we don't mind that sort of bluesy addition. Now, one thing that also happens, you may remember that every minor scale has a relative major scale. So in the case of A minor, its relative major is C major. So the C major pentatonic is a root, a second, a third, a fifth, a sixth, and a root. And I can play that a bunch of different ways. Okay, but I'm choosing to play it starting with my pinky right here. If I add that same blue note, it goes between the second and the third. So I have root 2, flat 3, right? 3, 5, 6, root 2, flat 3, 3. Again, my 6, or 5, 6, root. If I was in A, I have A, there's the B, the 2, the flatted third is the C, the The third is the C sharp, fifth, sixth, root. And there's a lot of different ways you can play that. I like box 2. Okay, so again, if I play that lick or that little groove, I could use the A major pentatonic scale. But adding a little the blue note to this, I think is particularly effective. Okay, so again, they are functionally equivalent. They can go pretty much in the exact same places. Now, that's in a blues context, okay? If I was playing over, say, a country tune, and I have been bit by this, I will tell you in no uncertain terms, what a lot of people will do, a lot of students will do, is they'll say, okay, well, if they're functionally equivalent, I will just always practice the blues scale and I will never practice the pentatonic scale. That way I always know where that blue note is. I get the idea behind that. What I will tell you though is that the occasion may come down the road. And in my case, I was playing in a country band. I didn't want the blue note. I didn't want that sound. I didn't like it every time I heard it. Yet I kept hitting it because I had never practiced the scale any other way. It was like I couldn't avoid it. I had to go home and actually practice the pentatonic scale without the blue note and get them separated in my mind and then go back and play that gig, and it went much better. So keep that in mind. It's entirely possible that there may be times outside of the blues when you don't want that blue note, and so bear that in mind. But that is truly the essence of the blue note. It is the flatted fifth in a minor context, and it is the flatted third in a major context. And theoretically, you can add them both. But that makes for kind of a big, ugly mess, and you really don't want to necessarily play that very often. Sounds very chromatic. It gives you, if you kind of combine the major and the minor blues sounds in both of the blue notes, you end up with like 9 out of 12 notes. It's like every note on the fretboard almost. So I don't recommend using that in that capacity. There is the occasional time when I will use, and I will walk up. So I'll take like my root, in this case is a G, and I'll play from that G on the second string, I'll play the flatted third, and the regular third, and the fourth, and the flatted fifth, and the fifth. Now, let's do it in A, because this is one of those things you would hear like Albert King or Stevie Ray Vaughan do. Right, where they would kind of walk up, get the flatted third, bend it up to the major third, bend the major third up to the fourth, bend the fourth up to the flat fifth, and get all that. So that's one. That's one time, and arguably one of the very few times that I will use both of those notes. I will go right from the flat third to the third to the fourth to the flat five to the five. It's a good kind of chromatic building up thing that you can do. Again, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Albert King used that incredibly effectively, and it is a really cool idea. If you want to try to use it, particularly in a slow blues or something like that, it does. It sounds really, really cool. But that's pretty much the only time that you will hear me use that. It's just not something that I do very often, because again, it is very, very chromatic. So I'll quit my yapping. As always, I hope this kind of makes things make a little bit more sense for you. If you have guitar playing friends that you think would dig this video, please feel free to share it with them. I am Griff Hamlin from Blues Guitar Unleashed, and as always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.